Okay, so she just met enough of those minimum goals. And so these are all of those models that she just dressed, and then what she's doing at the end of this round is she's going to pick one of these outfits that will go into the clothing line that she's designing, her signature line within this style. You notice at the beginning there was that screen that had all the different styles in that kind of hand-drawn aesthetic, and so she is in the Night on the Town style. And so this outfit will be one of the outfits in that clothing line for Night on the Town. So she'll go through, oh, this is great, this worked out perfect. We already had one in the oven right here. So she's picked out all these outfits, and so these are this makes up the Night on the Town, her signature Night on the Town line. So then she'll go into the fashion show. And in the fashion show, she's taking pictures of her models, so we kind of wanted to bring in that whole paparazzi aspect and put the player in that role and give them a different way to admire their fashions. And then also each of these photos are something that you can send to your friend from within the game. So then the other significant mode to the game, this is another thing that was really important to us, is the ability to design your own clothing. So let's just go into that. And again, this is something that was greatly facilitated by having the 3D models. You're just able to do a bunch of things in terms of mapping textures onto these different models and letting someone have a ton of flexibility. So pretty much, these are the categories at the top are the different card categories. So what Daisy's doing right now is she is choosing a base piece of geometry, effectively. They're all white right now. And once she chooses that, she can go into the pattern area and she can choose one. How many patterns are in the game? About 60 different patterns. So she can choose one of those, and then within that pattern, she can set the background and foreground colors of that pattern. She can set the size of that pattern. She can set the underlying fabric. So you can really just start to get a tremendous variety of garment types and some very custom garments. Now, what happens once she's created one, she'll give it a name and she'll save it, and that will go into her deck of clothing for this particular style. And when you use, over time, what we're trying to kind of encourage a player to do is to eventually replace all of the stock cards in the deck with custom cards, and you actually get more money and more positive feedback for using custom cards. You'll see there's like that little thimble and thread, or needle and thread in the bottom of that card to indicate that it's custom. So that's the core game. Why don't we jump over to the PowerPoint and we'll kind of walk you guys through some of the evolution that went on. Okay, so I mentioned the initial concept was this personal shopper idea. So you can just click. So this is just from that document that I mentioned that I found today. This is one of the kind of concept mock-ups that we created for that personal shopper. So the idea there was that it was much more about these characters. They would come in. I mean, in many ways it was similar to where you guys started. We didn't really have the click management thing going on, but it was very much about, you would kind of go through this process of interviewing customers as they came in, and they would have a certain amount of time that they had to let you dress them and certain requirements, and then you would go through and try to meet those requirements with different clothing. Actually, Brandon's here, right? Where are you, Brandon? Brandon was actually helped work on that. Did you create that piece of art? Okay. So, but yeah, Brandon did a lot of good work on the initial proposal, and so just wanted to show you a few kind of steps that we went through. All these screenshots are from builds that we provided to our publishing partner. So just to give you a little bit of insight, this is back when we were working with 2D models. We were still, even I'd say a third of the way into the project, we were still kind of figuring out the underlying 3D model and clothing system. This is when we had linebackers for models, very powerful women. A lot of shoulder presses. And at this point we were still trying to figure out, what is this balance of solitaire constraints and just kind of freer mix and match dress up play. You'll see there's numbers on the cards here. It was very much like Klondike Solitaire. We went through just tons and tons of different iterations and variations on the mechanic where, we really were at one point thinking about the models like the aces in Klondike Solitaire, and you were kind of dressing from head to toe. Then we went toe to head, then we went from inside out, and, it was just, and we would put, we always are testing with players from our demographic, and we would put the game in front of players, and the solitaire players would love the constraints, and the people that were into fashion would be frustrated that they couldn't make the outfits that they wanted. So we were kind of working towards a compromise position and trying to simplify. Okay, I have 1 minute. So let's just go quickly through these. Next. So right. So this is when we switched to more of a simpler mahjong style solitaire game. It's quite forgiving. If there's a top on a model and you want to put a different top on her, you just drop it on and it will pull the top off back onto the deck. These are some early comps. We always try to misspell something in the early comps. Early comps of the clothing editor. This was something else we did a lot of testing with, and it's been a continual process of trying to simplify this and make it really easy for people to use. Early sketches of the characters. Actually, go back for a second. Oh. Okay, yeah. Never mind. A test model. This is like that girl from Minority Report there on the left. The little troll ears that Diane desperately wanted to keep in the game. Lifetime made her pull them out. And then finally, actually that's fine. We can go. This is where we ended up with the model. Did a lot. One of the big technical problems that we faced was how to have all these different layers of clothing without underlying layers popping through. And JPI did a phenomenal job figuring that out, and Yossi as well. And this is Kermit presenting the product backlog. These are all the things that we didn't get to put in the game. So this is the dark side of game development. But so that's it, and I guess I have time for a couple of questions, and you can direct them to anyone on the team as well.